Hello, viewers, and welcome to the credits in which I ramble on about random things. A couple of quick bonus features I get for beating the game. First, in multiplayer, I can select the same spell progression I used in single player. And second, I can play Marduk, which doesn't really do much except look really bitchin', which, to be fair, is worth it. So as I said before, we will be entertained with the credits, or as entertaining as they get. So here's the whole crew, or most of the crew. Team Sacrifice. I think most people here are actually represented. Again, this is at this point the third time I've seen the credits. So yeah, no shortage of things to learn here. So basically, everyone picks someone to be represented by. Now, that guy, I'm not sure if you can actually see the text. Not only did he thank the letter P, but he also thanked George R.R. Martin. So, for some viewers, might know that he's pretty well respected. Pretty good author. So, yeah, that's kind of neat. And this guy, I think, just beats up a peasant, as I recall. The Art Cafe, RIP, and Information Thermodynamics, he thinks. So, on the subject of Sacrifice as a whole, it's a really good game. Obviously, it's a really old game. The graphics certainly aren't up to par when you look at games today, as of this recording at least. Things like Deus Ex or even Crysis, which came out in 2007 that I Let's Played previously. Can't hold up in that regard. But it's just a really solid game. It's really fun. I might mention before that a single disc could spawn multiple copies, so all your friends could play multiplayer, which is a really cool feature. Well, I mean, with all the DRMs you see these days, that would never happen in modern times. And apparently this dude thanks himself because he rules, and he picked a sylph to represent himself. Take that as you may, viewers. Take that as you may. Team Sacrifice art. Now, the art in this game, again, for being old, is pretty amazing. You can probably tell with the close-ups of most of the models here that they just textured them all, and there's not that many polygons. But what are you going to do? Here's part of the ongoing story. Manahor. Hey man, you got a pair of arms I can borrow? No dude, I just ate my last one. Oh crap. Now that will actually come back to feature later on, believe it or not. Yes, even Team Shiny would have a story in the credits. Of course, Ambassador Buta fought him a lot as part of going up against Pyro. This guy thanks Sabbath, Rush, UFO, and a bunch of CDs that made him cringe. He would like to thank Team Sacrifice and apparently Screaming Pink Incorporated, which was their small startup where most people stuck around, I guess, until the end. And, yeah, not everybody is happy to see that. Karen says, Screaming Pink, huh? What? Why'd you have to remind me? And goodbye, Ambassador Buta. I wish Yetis actually hit that hard. Then again, most times the wizards have some kind of shield spell on them, so... Trolls! Got a lot of use out of those guys from Persephone. Didn't make many late game, of course, because they just didn't have a whole lot of features besides regenerating a lot. And there's the Manahor. And apparently that troll is the guy that took the Manahor's arms. And the peasants are hungry for blood. Oh, I see where this is going. I mean, I knew where it was going the first time. Now it's just yeah, over the cliff. And falling damage actually hurts creatures in this game too, which makes Tornado very useful for taking out, well, small legions of little creatures. Then again, so can most things. This guy actually thanks his loving game widow, his wife Donna, because making a game, I imagine, takes a lot of time. And this team at Sacrifice was pretty small. Actually, what is really surprising when you get later on is the voice talent. There's an Ent, one of Persephone's creatures. Beat up a couple of those guys. Main defining characteristic is that actually they have the same ability as the druid that just ran into panel, which is Life Shield, which turns their mana into health, essentially. So you have to beat through that first. And of course the Manalith, the source of all my magical oomph. And that Ent just can't seem to find the camera. Oh, there we go. Must have been fun to voice that. And there's the Ent. Really creepy looking thing. I mean, that's one thing for sure, is most of the monsters, especially once you get past a certain level, are definitely monsters. What's to say about Sacrifice? Multiplayer was fun, if random and really hard. I almost thought it was more luck than anything else. Basically depended if you were ganged up on or not in any game with more than one player. I mean, here's a throwback. So this guy here, Mr. Snowman, thanked Karen's lovely wife, and you think, it's been 11 years. Is Karen still together? Did the snowman ever find his guitar? We may never know, viewers, as Sacrifice, unfortunately, never had a sequel. So there's one of the Fallen, and they spit insects. Like all of Cherno's creatures, they regenerate, and they can play dead. And there's Pyro's answer to the Brainiac, a fire spitter. A little bit of AoE damage, really good at mowing down low-level characters, or low-level monsters, rather. And of course, the Blue Soul, the source of all my armies and minions. Oh god, that freaking thing. I don't even know what the hell that was. With that in mind, Sacrifice, and I'm going to chill a bit here, is available on goodoldgames.com, along with Free Space and Free Space 2, which as of this recording I'm currently in the process of working through, and some other goodies like Planescape Torment, which I intend to play at some point. Maybe not Let's Play, but people could tell me it's a great game. There's the Phoenix. Saw a couple of those, mostly as obviously opposition. Medium range with its attack, its little laser beam there. Are we going to see the laser beam? Laser beam? No, we're not. Okay. But, oh, yet the peasant died anyhow. So the Phoenix's laser beam burns health and mana like the Hellmouth, but unlike the Hellmouth, it's not damage over time. So you can stack a bunch of Phoenixes, and they're very effective. Now, they don't steal health. Another crazy Frenchman. Guess that Phoenix wants to conquer the world. Okay, Phoenix versus a Ranger. This is kind of forgotten. Oh man, you shot me in the eye. Okay, maybe the Phoenix does apparently have a chance to lose this. And of course, Marduk's awesome model. It's claimed by Scott Holty, who just looks sweet for a freaking villain. You know, I can never figure out whether or not his staff was actually, like, is he holding it or is it part of his arm? Can't tell for sure. Oh boy, and there's Boar. Of course, we saw Boar once in that mission against James when he used it, not his wizard, the cheating bastard, to nuke most of my invasion force. Not that that stopped me from kicking his ass. And Marduk apparently says that utter control of the universe has its benefits, like power, fame, and chicks. So he's approached by Abraxas and Scorcha, who I'm not sure if we fought. Oh, I do like this sequence here. This is pretty cool. So the effect you're about to see here was one of Pyro's super weapons in his level. And for that, viewers, as much as I complained about the level and spell progression I got, never really complained about having to fight those things, or rather, not having to fight those things. That giant fiery effect could actually be summoned in the level where you fought the Pyrodraulic Dynamo thing under your army or your wizard. And it pretty much nuked whatever it hit, bar none. Naturally, the object of the mission in question was to blow it up. Charlotte, with that guy just shut the hell up. Talk about an ego. You give him the opportunity to do the credits, and look what happens. Crap, crap, crap. Apparently, Alwato is not concerned with the credits. He just hates how hard the game is. I mean, there are a couple tough spots. By the time the last level rolled around, I think I'd gotten my sea legs back, sacrifice legs back. I don't know. But it wasn't as hard as I remember. Maybe Stratos' spells were just better than I gave them credit for. Going back to the part about Pyro, after you destroy... No, before you destroy that, he has another level with built-in weapons. And there's Mithras and Eldred chatting it out. The built-in weapons were essentially giant magnifying glasses that shot death ray lasers at your minions, and it could burn through them pretty fast, especially the weaker ones. The kicker is, in one part there were 3 of them at once you had to take on, and they could cover each other. If you got to the base of them, obviously they couldn't shoot and cover themselves, but some of them were near enough that they could attack whatever you sent to beat up the other one. So lots of attrition in that mission. But I think I actually ended up fighting the magnifiers once. And most of the time I did my best to avoid those missions, no matter which guy I had to work with. Orbital, Depeche Mode, plus Dinky, my Staffordshire Bull Terrier who I missed after 10 years. Aw, that's sad. And Red Soul. He thanks everyone who's responsible for him being there, including his long-distance girlfriend, Sophia. So there's Meanstalks, which apparently isn't going to happen. Meanstalks learn Persephone spells, and it's pretty much what it sounded like. A bunch of giant beanstalks threaded with thorns that threw people into the air and impaled them and generally kicked a lot of ass. Persephone actually, once you got past the Rain of Frogs spell, which wasn't great, had some pretty intensely damaging stuff. And of course, she had her rainbow chain heal, which was really annoying to fight against, and really useful if you had a couple of tough creatures mixed in. And there's Death, who's going to proceed and kill the fallen ones, the druids, the peasants, pretty much everything. I guess those are all Marduk's creatures, since he seems to be absorbing them. And now Death's killing things off screen. So he lasts a really long time. I've learned Charnel spells. Ran up against it a few times fighting Marduk, but I think he stopped casting it towards the end. And our poor Manahor wants to know if any salvageable arms are available. And Marduk has offered to help him out. Oop. There goes the Manahor. Now, the neat thing is, these credits are actually very bugged, because there's a bit of text coming up mentioning the Manahor as we wait. There it is. Oh, that's gotta hurt. That was cruel. It was, but Marduk was to destroy the world. So the Silverback, we saw its special abilities in action. It has a bit of an AoE, area of effect breath weapon that freezes whatever hits in ice cubes. And it has the same ability as Scorcha. Not Scorcha, that's Scorcha. But it has the same ability as a Yeti, which is when it's zapped by lightning, it radiates lightning. Now, naturally, if you have a pack of Silverbacks helping you out on your team, it's pretty advantageous to zap one of them with Lightning Bolt and then blitz the rest. And apparently Scott Barrett is... oh, there he is. Oh, he's the Hellmouth. And the Hellmouth wants to know what that poor Manahor is that Marduk just killed with Death. Which is a little bit of overkill. No, there's Acheron, Charnel's original champion, before essentially Eldred shows up and steals the show. Really cool design. I want to get into one more thing before the credits run out here, and I forget exactly how long they are. But if you like Sacrifice, I recommend you play Brutal Legend, which came out, I think, on the PS3 and the Xbox 360 for certain. Same sort of idea, you're controlling and summoning a bunch of creatures. A little bit more defined objective, you're trying to wreck your enemy's sound states, and it's definitely... is that a cow? Oh, that's actually one of James's spell. Bovine Intervention. Wow, I guess he doesn't get to tell that joke. And so, as mentioned, that's one of those spells that gives people. So, that soul is blue, anyone can pick it up. Special thanks from Shiny Entertainment. The music in this game was sweet. I know I had it turned down most of the time so you could hear me prattle on with my commentary, but full orchestra. The Laguna Pacific Orchestra, in fact. So back to Brutal Legend. It's obviously a bit more thematic in regards to having essentially the heavy metal background there. A lot of surprising voices like Lemmy from Motorhead, the lead singer from Judas Priest, whose name escapes me at the moment, and I apologize profusely for that. Jack Black, of course, plays the main character. Really fun game. On the last level, still haven't beaten it. It's actually a fair bit of a challenge. Some good versus multiplayer. Played a couple rounds with a friend of mine. If you like metal and you like Sacrifice, I think you might like Sacrifice, but you don't want to pick it up, or you can't pick it up for some reason, or worse, you pick it up and can't get it to run because it's an older game, I highly recommend giving Brutal Legend at least a rent. If nothing else, I'd certainly call it a spiritual successor. Oh, voice actors. Cam Clark. What else we got here? Tara Strong, Jennifer Hale, Frank Welker. Frank Welker, for those who might recognize the name, did pretty much every Decepticon, I think, in the original Transformers. Megatron, Soundwave, maybe Starscream, I don't quite remember. What else? Tara Strong does tons of voice acting, might have been in the Teen Titans cartoon. Jennifer Hale, I believe, is currently best known for being FemShep, female shepherd voice actor in the Mass Effect series, which as of this recording is about 5 months away from releasing Part 3. Could be wrong, maybe it'll be pushed back, but I'm totally stoked. And Random Tornado and Peasants. Why not? Why not indeed? So yeah, recommend Brutal Legend, recommend Sacrifice, if you, I think it's pretty cheap on GOG. Tons of ways to play the game, obviously, from how I went with the path of voting. Charnel actually has a really cool line, a couple of really cool lines. Stratos is manipulative. Charnel is just funny, Pyro is funny. James is very down-to-earth, no pun intended, sorry about that. And Persephone is kind of, you know, Blood Knight, Crusader type. Yay, top beta testers. As you can see from the fact that the credits haven't quite panned out a little bit. I know the last time I played this, that one shot they had of the Web Mistress M with Scorcha. Scorcha wasn't actually there. It was just a bunch of explosions. Oh, that's the copyright, so I think I'm out of time. Thanks for watching, viewers, if you stuck around for the credits. If not, well, I'm just recording for no reason. Clearly I like the sound of my own voice. But give Sacrifice a shot. It was a fun little game. Tough game. A lot easier than I remember, actually. But Marduk says, what you've seen here is the creation of many hardworking individuals. Any relation to real people or events is purely coincidental. Anybody whose feelings were hurt or made to feel queasy due to any portion of this game is purely unintentional, and we apologize. If you ask nice, we may even give you a tissue. Not a lot of sincerity there from Marduk, I think. Does that cover it? And lawyer type guy says, sure, it's covered. Oh, and looks like Marduk has a bit of a rebellion on his hands, which consists of, I think, most of the dev team. Get Holty! No mercy. And the peasants are still bloodthirsty and crazy. What are you going to do? They're peasanties. It looks like he's heading back to Interplay. Sadly, as mentioned, this game never got a sequel. Brutal Legend is the closest thing, which is a shame. I mean, the world was fairly well developed. The characters were all well developed. The gods had their own distinct personalities. The fact you could choose where to go with Eldred and either redemption or power is kind of neat, and that wall of wailing souls didn't really pan out for him, but it was enough to get away. And last but not least, Jadugar, who of course turned out to be Marduk's servant in the end. This is not over yet. I'll be back to have my revenge in a sequel that doesn't exist. But that's it for the credits, I believe. Thanks for watching, viewers. See you next LP.